Clutch closers, how do you prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for the negotiation? We know that attitude is the only true freedom that you have. Your attitude is so important to closing the deal. But yet a lot of times we overlook the steps to prepare ourselves mentally and emotionally for a negotiation. Let's go through the 6 steps to prepare ourselves. First, I'm going to ask you, how do you want to feel? I know how some of you clutch closers want to feel, and I totally get it. That's how you see yourself moving into the close. Sub-zero wins the deal, right? And I get it, but not everybody's asked themselves that. How do you want to feel? Only you can answer it. And it's something that may or may not be unique to you. My way of answering that question was prepared. I wanted to be prepared walking over into the negotiation. Then we have to ask ourselves, why do we even want to feel that way? And only you can answer that. How do you want to feel? And now, why do you want to feel that way? Write it down. Get a pen and paper out. Well, this is an exercise for us to figure out. My answer was I wanted to be prepared because I wanted to have confidence when I moved into the close. I wanted to understand that me personally, I have looked over and studied and prepared myself and trained for any objection that they can throw my way. I've studied my product backwards and forwards, and I know everything about it, and I am the expert, and any question they ask me, I can answer. So I wanted to be prepared. Mentally, physically, emotionally, I'm prepared for the close, so now I have confidence. How do you want to feel, and why do you want to feel that way? Now that I know that I want to be prepared because I want to be confident, how do I change my emotional state from wherever I'm at to where I want to be? And there's some great ways to do this. First off, you may feel anxiety walking into the close. That's perfectly natural. A lot of your customer feels it. Do you remember, I've told you before the anxiety and angst that I felt walking up to a customer like 2 magnets being pushed together, and some of the ways that I diffused that situation for myself, that anxiety that I felt, that's perfectly natural to be a little scared walking into the close because you don't know what you're going to get, and people don't like friction. So you could make the choice to try to diffuse that anxiety and go through the yoga Zen poses and take some deep breaths and listen. There's a time and a place for that. But I'm going to tell you as a clutch closer, it's even better to steer into that anxiety. That anxiety's got you in an emotional state full of energy. And anxiety and energy come from the same place. So use that to your advantage. When you start feeling that anxiety and it's coming on you strong and you feel your heart beating up, change your mind, change your attitude, and you're going to change what the universe gives you back. So tell yourself, I'm excited, and I'm ready to close this car deal. And just simply by telling yourself that I'm ready to close this deal and I'm excited and I know I can do this, and that's what I feel is the anticipation of moving into the close, your whole mindset starts shifting. So use that high state of energy that you have and channel it into the close. There's also a couple of other things that you can do to prepare yourself that's been wildly scientifically proven, and that is there's a such thing as power poses. And you know what a power pose is a position of power. This, we'll call it Wonder Woman, is a power pose. When you do this and you take your elbows out away from your body, my testosterone is rising right now. My cortisol levels are going through the roof, and everything that I need to give me confidence and take stress away is going away. Or maybe you want another power pose. Boom, touchdown, score, goal! That's a power pose. My testosterone is rising. My cortisol levels are going through the floor. And whether you're sitting there on Sunday at the altar or at the football game and you see this, man, stress levels are going down. Testosterone's going up. People are gaining confidence when they do that. That's why it's a natural emotion. I have known closers who would go into a bathroom stall, and before they got ready to move into negotiations, they'd just stand in the bathroom. You could just see hands sticking up over the stall, and they'd be back there for 10 minutes like this, just walking around, talking to themselves, getting ready. I can do this. I can do and doggone it, I'm worth it. I can do it. This is me. I am a closer. Hands up. I can see the close. It's there. And they just stood in the stall for 10 minutes. And whenever they got to that mental state and they was able to channel that energy, They moved out, and I'm telling you, they were a wrecking ball when it come in. There was absolutely no stopping him. Testosterone's high, cortisol's levels down, power poses can do it. Okay, I'm going to give you one more. I'm going to give you one more way to kind of change your attitude and remind yourself that you're moving into the close. I'm going to give you one more way to stick that in the back of your brain. And it can be something. Do you wear a watch? Maybe you wear a watch and you're used to it being on your left arm, or maybe it's on your right arm. When it comes time to do business, when it comes time to close, shift that watch around. Maybe you're watching right now. Take your watch off. Put it on the other hand. Set it down. Does it feel natural to you? It doesn't, does it? Man, it feels crazy. I'll tell you, this watch right here is just standing out, and it's just like some kind of beacon just hammering right now in my head. What is that on your right hand? It's not used to being there. But when I go into the close sometimes, if I know it's going to be an exceptionally difficult close, sometimes that gets swapped over. Because then it's reminding me constantly, this watch, constantly sending me signals. To me, this is reminding me you're here for one thing and one thing only. It's to get ink on paper, and everything else you've done up until this point is free. I say that over and over again, don't I? Because it's true. But this thing's pounding me, man. It's telling me it's time to close the deal. Do something like that. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a ring. Maybe you're swapping a ring over. Maybe it's a watch is the best way, though. If you wear a watch, swap it over. It'll do. That right there, that's clutch in the close. Okay. The number 4 question you have to ask yourself is, what can throw you off your game? What are your emotional triggers that can happen inside of a deal that change your attitude towards a negative state? Think about right now, and hopefully you got your pen and paper out and you're jotting down the answers to all these questions I'm asking you. Think about right now something that happened that was negative to you in a deal you didn't close. Maybe it was a deal you thought at the beginning you were going to close, but something went wrong somewhere, and maybe you blame yourself for that. What happened that caused that? What were your emotional triggers? Has it happened more than once? Let's look for a pattern, right? What is that pattern? How can we address it? And how can we move that forward and know that it's going to happen again? And we need to be prepared for it when it does. Did it happen at the beginning of the deal? Was it at the middle of the deal? Was it when you were trying to put pressure on the customer? Was it when you were asking for business? Did you have a weak walk around? Do you not have a good, strong meet and greet? I've talked before about one of my weaknesses was a meet and greet. I knew that was a bad place for me in a deal. Where it started was bad. I couldn't stand that walk up to a customer, so I knew right away, I've got to walk up to every customer. I got to shake their hand, so I better address this right now. What is your emotional trigger? Write it down. Maybe you put it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what some other people's emotional triggers are. It's a great conversation piece for us to have so we can all get better. Where are you failing in the deal, and how can we get stronger collectively by addressing that right now? Put it in the comments down below. I'd love to hear what your triggers are. Know what your hot buttons are. Know how to control them. Losing focus in a deal can be just as detrimental as losing yourself in the deal. And that brings us to number 5 question you got to write down. If you lose yourself in the middle of negotiations and you find yourself losing your cool, how do you, and your hot buttons being hit, how do you control it? How do you regroup? What do you do right then? What have you done to prepare yourself for this situation? Because you knew it was going to happen again. The last question you answered was your emotional trigger. So now we've hit it. That emotional trigger is being hit. Now what? You've got to hit the pause button a little early, and you've got to be willing to stand up, walk away, regroup, and come back to the table. If you wait till you're done in a tizzy, it's too late. It's too tizzy. Is that universal or is that Southern? Maybe taking a break isn't an option. Getting up and walking away is not an option. Sometimes it's not. At that point, try to shift the conversation maybe. Maybe that's an option for you. Maybe you shift the conversation away from the deal right now and you figure out a way you can smoothly start talking about something else, even if it's just small talk. But small talk can help regroup, and it can help refocus yourself, and it can help you and your client start getting back on the same page again. Maybe that's the option for you. Maybe if you're selling cars, you get up and you go re-demo the vehicle, because sometimes, man, the monotony of the close, it just seems to drag on, and it's like this suck that's pulling you down, and you have to regroup yourself. Get up and go re-demo the car. Remind your customer what they're buying. You should have the answer to 5 questions right now wrote down in front of you. Those 5 answers, that's how you prepare yourself mentally and emotionally for the negotiation. But there's one more question you need to ask yourself, and you need to visit while we're on the subject. What do you do when you hit the customer's hot button? You have to prepare for this scenario because it's going to happen. You're going to say something that's taken out of context. You're going to say something that your customer read the wrong way, saw the wrong way, send them a text, there's no emotion in that, and you've got to know how to deal with it. It's going to happen. And when you do, when that emotional trigger comes out, it's going to be in varying levels of anger, disgust, and they're going to push all this back onto you, and all you can do is take it. Don't get emotional whenever it happens. Don't lose your cool. That might be one emotional trigger of yours. That could be something that you don't know how to handle. That could be something that you could go back up 2 or 3 questions as one of your emotional triggers. What happens when the customer loses their cool? And how do you answer that question when it's there? The easiest answer I can give you is don't take it personal. So clutch closers and sub-zeros out there, listen, you've got emotional triggers, things that are hitting. Again, put them in the comments down below. How are you dealing with those emotional triggers? If you like what you heard, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, give the video a thumbs up, and go out there and close some cardios and be more clutch in the close, clutch closers.